And with a body count approaching that of a small war, what's been the most memorable murder method?
My favourite was this lovely actor, Oliver Ford Davis, and he played an arrogant wine buff. And his demise was spectacular, to say the least. He was pinioned to his lawn, beautifully manicured lawn, by croquet hoops.
Is this some kind of joke?
And he was trebucheted to death, you know, that whole big Roman catapult thing. Trebucheted to death. The trebuchet slung bottles of his best Chateau Lafite at him. And he lay there sprawled out like that, being hit by his Chateau Lafite.
My God! It's the 78 Marco! You bloody maniac!
And the whole process was directed by his wheelchair-bound wife, grisly touch that, from an upstairs window.
Can I suggest about 5 degrees to the left?
I laughed a lot at that one. That was one of the best ones ever.
So beware of old women in wheelchairs. And it's on to the next lesson in our Midsomer survival guide.
Rule number 3. Do not join a local interest group.
Now we come to the question of which writer we invite to address us.
What about Jilly Cooper?
I thought he said a writer.
And a local interest group could be as innocent as a simple book club.
Poet. That last one was such a ghastly little man.
Yes. Geoffrey Archer?
Vulgar.
Look, it's getting late and I've got marking for a class tomorrow. Why do we take a vote?
Max Jennings. I say no. I'm against it.
Doesn't make any difference. It's a majority vote. Max Jennings it is.
Could be a book club, craft club, or even a sports club. In Midsomer, envy and greed dominate these societies. If you must join a social club, watch your back, no matter how innocent things may seem. And don't get too competitive, because that leads to jealousy. And jealousy can lead to you know what.
I just want to see you die.
Surely suggesting Geoffrey Archer can't be a reason to throw someone out of the window, even in Midsomer.
Joining a Midsomer society can sometimes be a dangerous thing. I've been in a bell-ringing club.
The club in question was in the episode Ring Out Your Dead.
That was crap.
And a particularly bloody episode it was too. 3 members of the local bell-ringing club are murdered in the run-up to the best bell-ringing in Midsomer competition. But not even the sight of blood dripping from the belfry can deter them.
You'd have thought they'd have given up and gone home, really. Bell ringers are at risk, let's leave this out. But he convinced everybody he just had to win this thing. And so he managed to keep them ringing away as they died one by one.
That was brilliant. Bloody brilliant.
You'd think when 3 victims have gone down, that they'd all run to the hills, but no, they don't. No, such is their passion and devotion for bell ringing.
Bloody clappers have all been tied.
In spite of blood pouring from the roof, yet another bell ringer goes up the belfry. Foolish man. The countryside around Midsomer may be beautiful and village life serene, But occasionally that's not enough to keep the grey matter stimulated, something the character Joyce Barnaby is only too keen to get involved with.
I've done a lot with local history, that kind of stuff. I always like to try and help out, you know.
But when Joyce joined a watercolour class, you can guess what happened.
I'm not often at risk. You know, there was that time Gemma Jones that got a bit dodgy in the bell ringing one.
Will you display it?
A close shave for Joyce as she unwittingly shares a coffee with the belfry murderer.
We're in the kitchen, Tom. She was being so friendly and everything, but I think that probably was a bit dangerous. I got a bit close to the action there because she was barking.
Cully's not that heavily into local interest groups. She might be in the periphery of one, and if Joyce has gone and joined a choir, Cully will turn up and watch the performance. But she doesn't really get that heavily involved in the actual groups.
Neck and leg break, man.
Good luck, everyone.
And you don't even have to join the group. Sometimes just being in the audience can expose you to the gruesome side of Midsomer.
In the depths of your downcastness, you can pray for me, and I will forgive you.
So always check that the props you are using are just that, props. In Midsomer, amateur dramatics can be a cutthroat business. But one person who realised the danger of a social group in time was D.S. Jones.
My character doesn't belong to any clubs anymore. I think that he realised that they were kind of dangerous places to be, and he got out early. He quit while he was ahead. He was a Mason, but he left. A good job too, because I'm still alive, and the people who were involved with that particular episode are no more.
So there you have it. Avoid the woods and the clubs of Midsomer County, and you should be okay. Coming up on our Midsomer Survival Guide, we look at the dangers of taking a lover. And how there is definitely no such thing as a free Midsomer lunch.
Join me in a minute for the fourth of our Midsomer Survival Tips. Your life may just depend on it. Welcome back to our survival guide for living in the world's most deadly beauty spot. Wife and I attended a wedding at this church last summer. Gorgeous couple. We give them 5 years. You see, the thing is about living round here in Midsomer is that a lot of people have a problem with fidelity, regardless of marriage vows. Till death they do part.
Which brings us nicely on to the next lesson in our Midsomer Survival Guide.
There's someone else, isn't there?
No.
I couldn't bear it if there was. I really couldn't.
Fall in love with the wrong person in Midsomer and you really are inviting the kiss of death.
You better get home. Your mum and dad would kill you if they knew you were here.
They kill you first.
It's the age-old curse of the love triangle. Boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy finds girl in bed with best friend, boy savagely slaughters both of them with an axe. We've heard it all before.
You've got to go.
All right.
You don't care, do you?
What?
Stay or go?
Even a young Orlando Bloom might come to a sticky end if he carries on like this.
You're so bloody heartless. You're like an animal.
Watch it.
I'm complimenting you. If Gordon ever found out about you, he'd neuter you.
Any kind of Lothario in this county, male or female, is treading a very thin line.
What?
What a surprise, our Lothario gets his comeuppance.
You are, without doubt, the vainest, blatantest, loathsomest serial womanizer in the history of adultery.
I thought you was at the cash and carry. Sue, you ain't leaving.
No, Greg. You are.
Well, there's a lot of, shall we say, well, to be short, mucking around in marriage in Midsomer.
And if a bit of midsummer afternoon delight is spoilt, you'd better think fast. Thank heavens for fluffy duvets, the perfect hiding place should the wife come back unexpectedly.
Poor darling. Has the worm finally turned?
Why didn't she have a go at you?
Because I'm clearly an innocent victim of your lechery.
And this could quite often lead people into trouble or be seriously dead.
Especially after a few drinks, when defences are lowered and things that wouldn't normally happen.
The night I kissed Troy, I don't think Cully was drunk that night, and I don't actually remember if she'd been boozing. She was able to climb the jungle gym, the rope ladder, to get to him, to do kissing. So I'm assuming she wasn't, you know, completely inebriated.
And of course in Midsomer, even slipping away for a sneaky liaison can often lead to a grisly discovery. So no matter how tempting the delights of Midsomer might be, maybe a cold shower or a good book would be the safest way to spend an afternoon.
Everybody who has extramarital sex in Midsomer Murders will die. It's kind of as simple as that, really. That's the rules.
Characters who are somewhat promiscuous tend to end up dead. Very true. We're a rather moral show.
But this being Midsomer, even the most unlikely person can become a Lothario.
Haven't you two got anything better to do than hang around here all day?
Both of the characters that I played were two of the most unappetising people. Nobody in their right minds would ever go to bed with them.
Bookbinding. Funny old thing to be doing these days. Wouldn't have thought there was much call for it in the digital age.
Please, Edward, do not use that word on these premises.
In the photography episode, the character that I played was a photographer. That was his job. That was his day job, and that's what he did. He took portrait photographs of women in scantily clad costumes, purely from a work perspective.
Edward, what can I say? This photograph is everything I would expect of you. You are without question the finest photographer of domestic animals in the southeast.
Cheers, Hedley. If he'd have crossed the line, then I don't think he'd still be with us, no.
And has the country air ever made Mrs. Tom Barnaby think of...
Might I suggest the south of France?
I think she's been faintly tempted here and there. But, no. They're very happily married.
Tom, it's great to see you.
Jane.
But what about her husband?
It's good to see you too.
Tom is always flirting. There was Janie D, there was Isla Blair. Oh, lots of them. He's a devil.
Troy, this is Dr. Moore.